It's 6:01 PM on April 8th, 2025. We're gonna open the regular board meeting. Roll call, please.
Chad Talbot.
Here.
Jim Christensen. Here. Bill Muskey. The absent Ada Manas.
Here.
Patrick Yarlow.
Here.
President Rick Turner.
Here.
Treasurer Gooday. Chair Patrick K. Madden here. Public Works Supervisor Brett Fergie.
Here.
Marcy Jordan Cook.
Here.
Deputy Mark Heinley.
Yes. Please rise and say the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have 5 items. Number 1, March 11th, 2025, regular board minutes. Item 2, bills payable dated April 8th, 2025, for a total of $70,248.50. Item 3, outside meeting pay for elected officials, total of $100. Item 4, resolution number 25-13, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a third-party administrative service agreement with Hunter Benefits Consulting Group Incorporated for administrative services of the Village of Davis Junction 457B retirement plan. And the last item 5, resolution number 25-18, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of firework display contract service agreement to engage services of RKM Fireworks Incorporated. This time, do any of the board members wish to remove any of those 5 items for further discussion? Not, we'll entertain the first motion.
I move to place agenda items 1 through 5 inclusively as consent agenda items. Further, I move that all items be considered together as a consent agenda.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to place items 1 through 5 inclusively as a consent agenda. Nathan seconds. Roll call, please.
Jen.
Yes.
Bill's absent. John.
Yes.
Ethan.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
The motion passes at 6:03.
I move to adopt items 1 through 5 inclusively on the consent agenda in a single group pursuant to the omnibus vote procedure specified in the Illinois Municipal Code.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to adopt items 1 through 5 inclusively as a consent agenda. Nathan seconds. Roll call, please.
Hold on. No discussion at all?
Not a consent agenda item.
Go ahead then.
Bill.
The whole point of, sorry, the whole point of the consent agenda, you remove it.
Go ahead.
Great. Bill is absent. John.
Yes.
Ethan.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
There should be no discussion.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever. I
Pass
just
it.
wanted to confirm that the July 4th, they were going to do July 4th. fire,
Yes,
right?
July.
That's all I mean, right there, that's what.
Yeah. It
It's
is.
tricked our typical 4th of July.
Yes.
Yeah.
That passes 6:04. We do not need item D as nothing was removed. Move on to me, utility bill drawing. No Charles, so Mark's the lucky guy.
Happy to do it.
Just the address.
Yep, 111 Prairie Moon Drive. Congratulations.
You can't win anyway. All right, so 111 Prairie Moon. We still do not have a person for Planning and Zoning Commission chairperson. So if anybody would like to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission or be the chairperson and be the chairperson, please get a hold of me. Sandy?
Immediately following this meeting, there is actually a planning and zoning public hearing, so I asked that when this meeting is over, that you please vacate your seat so I can flip over the board for planning and zoning.
Brenda?
I just had the March 31st, treasurer's report, come back there with other questions.
Mark?
I don't have anything this evening.
Well, the committees and Jen?
We are still working on trying to finalize our details for the South Final events. We still need to get volunteers. Lots of other things, and we just need to get them set in stone, so. I am working on the Easter egg hunt that's gonna be this Saturday. If you guys wanna come, you can come help set up. Usually we're setting up by 8:30 on Saturday morning. The registration starts at 10, the hunt will start at 11. We're usually done by noon. That. That's all I have.
Well, I have a question about it.
Chris?
There were no emergency expenditures that I know of. So apparently we need to discuss the ordinance for the municipal grocery retailers occupancy tax.
First, you need to make the motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 25-09, and our ordinance. Implementing municipal grocery retailer occupancy tax and municipal grocery service occupancy tax.
Second.
It's both.
Hi. That's what it's called.
Hold on,
Oh,
Hold on.
yeah,
Chris makes a motion to approve ordinance number 25-09. Well, John, I heard first, so John seconded. Discussion.
I have personally, I just thought it was one tax for the 1% to replace what the state had by the village of Davis Junction.
That's right. That's exactly what's happening. It's technically both a both pieces are what we commonly call the sales tax. It's the 1% tax that gets hit. You get hit with when you go to the grocery store. The reference to service occupation tax, which is part of the existing state level 1% grocery tax, covers certain items where a service is provided rather than a specific good. It's marginal. You don't typically see that in a normal grocery haul, but it is part of the initial law. So that is a law that's going to sunset the end of this year. So the village doesn't do anything. Consumers will pay 1% less on their grocery bills than they currently do. And you will lose all of that revenue because municipalities receive 100% of that 1% tax from the state.
I wonder why they go. This is what we talked about in the previous.
Yes, right. So essentially, if you approve the tax, it won't feel for anyone like a tax increase. It will simply maintain the existing level of taxes at the grocery store on your essential items. So this would be, you still have the 1% tax, all of which will come back to you. The state of Illinois will handle paperwork, and they actually are not taking any sort of administrative fee on that. So
And that was a discussion last time, is that they were.
that's right, and I think
I think that must have been a last minute change in the law.
I think they probably, yes. So
So it's a complete pass through now,
it's just you guys get to be the bad guys, and state legislature can say that they rolled back the grocery tax.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we've been used to it.
This is passed now and sent to the state, so they have enough lead time to make sure that can happen seamlessly. None of this takes effect until January 1.
Well, I don't think it's gonna affect the village much at all, because I don't think anybody's buying groceries here is buying for convenience, and the 1% isn't gonna dissuade them, so. I don't see it as an issue. There you go.
Brenda, do you have any idea what our grocery tax was?
That's says their codes. And all that is kind of hard to find exactly where the food, the 1%. When I get the municipal sales tax numbers, it's very hard. It's really hard.
Well, we've had that, you'll know in the future, huh?
Well,
No.
you may-
He was.
Oh,
It looks like still with the rest of
Still
the
the
tax.
same code.
I guess it isn't that very
But
much.
it's-
I will tell you that different is not alone, municipalities have really struggled to try to, they did not make it easy to try to figure out that information.
I saw when this first passed, I don't want to characterize, I don't remember, and it was listed in the aggregate, it was, whatever, $822 million across the state, but I didn't see it broken down on an individual community by community level, which would obviously vary greatly based on whether or not you had, like super Walmart in your midst or whatever.
Like gas stations and the Dollar General aren't a super Walmart.
Yeah, and this one, well, and speaking of gas stations, so this 1% tax does not affect what I would call hot foods or things that are you can pick up in a gas station, for example, but would be sort of akin to restaurant food, like the famous rotating hot dogs, spit.
What about, we have ourselves as a butcher shop?
The 1%.
That would be the
That would
1%,
be-
yeah, but what I would call like a hot food, anything that's like a.
Serving. A lot of municipalities have that specific tax to that.
Right.
On top of theirs,
Right, yep.
we don't.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Patrick,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Bill Bassett.
Passes at 6:12. Anything further, Chris?
Nope, that's it. That's all that's on the list here.
Anybody have anything for Bill? All right. Nathan,
I make a motion to approve resolution number 25-14, a resolution approving the name of the village public park, Sandvik Park.
Second.
Nathan makes a motion to approve resolution number 25-14. Chris seconds. Discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. That motion also passes at 6:12.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 25-10, an ordinance adopting the Illinois Energy Conservation Code.
Second.
Nathan makes a motion to approve ordinance number 25-10. Jen seconds. Is there any discussion on that?
This technically would take effect 30 days out because the state requires notice, so it's passed tonight, notice will be sent to the state and. Official, mid-May or whatever.
It'll be more like 35-ish.
Sure.
Probably won't.
I don't have a ton of confidence in CDB. I'm just saying,
And who?
The capital development board. That's who-
Oh.
yep. And a lot of other
I
stuff.
thought you meant our inspector here.
No.
I would have to agree with you. It's blind in one eye.
Anything further on that? All in favor, aye, say aye. Any opposed, same sign.
Right.
That one passes at 6:13.
I am. I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. I thought I heard you say retire, but don't wrong.
I thought, when we discussed it, I thought it was much, it was like 30,000 less than this, but then there was still things we were missing.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the final number.
Alright, you're good.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 25-16, a resolution waiving competitive bidding and accepting quote from the Vortex for purchase of a splash pad equipment in the amount of $81,372.12.
Second.
Nathan makes a motion to approve resolution number 25-16 in the amount of $81,372.12. Jen seconds. Any discussion?
So to finish up the park and get our grant money, this is something that we have to do. Because it was on the original plan. We did shop out 2 different vendors. This one by far was a better deal. And the other one was having a very hard time getting back to us. And we went to this company because the other company kind of stalled out and stopped communicating with us.
And there's nobody else that can provide it.
So Willett Hoffman is the one who's the initial contact for both of these providers. And technically, you guys would not even see this because it would just be incorporated into the bidding. We select the 4
Well,
selected
because we're
items.
doing it ahead.
Hmm?
Because we're doing it ahead.
Yeah, that's why you're seeing it outside of the
Alright.
bid packet, otherwise these items would have been.
I
included
was
in
gonna
the
vote no
program
because
bid
I don't-
packet.
I was gonna vote no because I don't like to waive competitive
Yeah.
bidding.
Correct.
Without having at least 2 quotes
Yeah.
on it, period. I don't vote for anyway without 2 quotes for the most, except for apparently fireworks. But, just saying. But, as long as this would have been part of.
It would have been part of it.
It would have been part of it. The only reason we're doing this is to lock in the
Then-
deal that we're
then-
getting now and to pay for things up front. So,
Okay.
We need manufacturing to start.
I, because there's a lead time, I get it.
yeah.
All right. I'm
So
good.
that's why we're doing this and why we're asking the board to approve this now instead of being in.
But everybody should realize that this day, we are waiving competitive bidding.
Yeah.
Correct. And what we decided was that this is a much better Unigen system to, some of the equipment that's in here is a little easier to use and will be easier for us to work on and do things with too. So it was a better quality product too.
And the remainder of the park project will fall under competitive. bidding.
Hopefully, yes, that is the
And
end.
should, hopefully, like, we should be approving offer.
Actually, I'm surprised it's not required because of the grant.
It is,
All right, let's
but just so like, the
work.
rest of this is still in compliance.
All right,
Anything further? That one's money. Roll call.
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Chris,
yes.
Jen,
Yeah.
Bill's absent, John.
Yes.
You were killing him to say yes. Passed at 6:17.
But he said yes, which is amazing. All right, I'm sorry, it's taking a while to get through all this. Oops, I went too far. All right, next one. I make a motion to approve resolution number 25-17, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of invoice for stage rental from Music Equipment Rentals for 2025 sesquicentennial event in the amount of $1,450.
Second.
1,450.
$1,450.
All right, Nathan makes a motion to approve resolution number 25-17 in the amount of $1,450. John seconds that motion. Any discussion on renting the stage?
So what this is
Musical equipment,
the
sorry.
previous company, previous company is no longer able to supply us any of the equipment that we were going to use from them. So we had to find someone else. This is, because it's a contract, we do need approval from the board. I can't just spend the cash because we are signing on a dotted line to guarantee this funds for the stage rental.
All $1,450.
Yeah, otherwise it would have just been approved. It was something we could just for spending, but because it's a contract, it is in front of the board too.
Fantastic.
It is like all these yeses from.
Anything further? Roll call, please. Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Bill's absent, John.
Yes.
Nathan.
Yes.
Passes at 6:18. Anything further?
That one, was that five?
You're four.
I've had four so far, right?
That's all that's on the
That's all
agenda.
on the
All
agenda.
right.
So you can have 5 if you want, but you ain't gonna do
No,
no.
that's it. So I'm everything else.
All right.
We hopefully will have other things soon.
John?
Brett, you must have some discussion on Edson Road maintenance.
So. I don't know how many of you travel our section or Edson Road, from the, tracks to 251. So last year's, pipeline work that took place up there, a combination of that and the increased traffic going to the, I don't know what it's called there, where the garbage trucks stage all their cans and things like that. Edson Road is basically destroyed. It is, all the oil has flushed to the top, chips are gone.
And it's not even warm out.
And it's not even warm out, that is correct. So it took probably the worst beating I've seen since I've been here. So we are in desperate need to at least do a chip seal like we've done in the past. The bad news is in order to use MFT funds, I dropped the ball. So we should have been out to bid this winter in order to use MFT funds, because it is quite a drawn out process by the time the engineers get okayed from DOT, IDOT, and all that kind of stuff. So it is quite a drawn out. There is a chance the engineers might be able to get it done if IDOT is not too backed up and we still make someone's list. But chip sealing is one of those projects where it gets let early and schedules are created very quickly within companies that chip seal. So I'm not saying it could not be done, but our window is closing by the day.
It's
So-
worse than that though.
I'm sorry,
It's worse than that because if we had to go through MFT, then it would have to be bid out and
it would.
you would get a
Yes.
horrible price. It'd cost you
Yes,
an arm and a leg.
yes. Yes, thank you. So at this point, I've reached out to 3 people. I've received 2 prices, just going through the village local funds, basically. I've received 2 prices, for A2 chip seals. I'm waiting on a third. Prices have come back actually better than I had hoped.
Yeah.
So, for that, I owe the board an apology. I dropped the ball on that. That is my fault. I should have had my A game going on that one and I did not. So,
What was Willie Hoffman's estimate of how much?
I should have brought that. I want to say with engineering, it was 76,000 maybe. But that was with engineering. So what I'm looking at doing, if the board allows it to happen, is, I'm not going to involve engineers. It's a chip seal. I can be up there. We're just coating a road that's literally falling apart. So it's not rocket science up there.
What do you see in ballpark without engineering?
Pardon?
What kind of price you seen so far?
I don't want to give away too much because I still have one more I'm waiting for, so I'd rather not. But I've seen good prices, or what I consider good for an A2, Rick. So,
So dropping the ball has saved us money.
well, no, because we can't use the MFT funds
Use
unless
them
we
somewhere
attempt to go through the process.
We'll use them
The MFT funds, I'm working on future projects that we will definitely need the MFT funds and more than what we currently have, according to Brenda. So, like I said, I can go 2 different ways. We can attempt to go through the engineers to do this, drag it out, see if we still make the window, or we can use, if everyone is comfortable, use local funds and do it in-house, and Fergie learns a lesson.
And the problem with that is that whenever you wait to get your bidding out, anytime.
It is.
Later,
It
the
should be
worse
done
it
in
goes up.
December or
Yes.
January,
It's gonna go up.
because
Yes,
by the time it now, April, and it probably wouldn't even be till May if we did it that way.
correct.
Everybody's already bid out their jobs and has their schedule set, so you're going to get,
Higher prices.
that's right, just like the 775,000 that we are paying extra for the build downtown on the bid, because it was late. We probably should have done that.
And the 2 park projects were up in price because we got them out later in the year
And
too.
that's, and what do we?
And waited both times to bid them. We waited both times to bid them again, so.
Our last A1 covering on it was what, 31,000?
Right around that, yes.
Yeah, so, and the
Yes.
engineer's estimate for an A2, 75-ish.
75, 70.
Anything we can get,
Yes.
anything that we can get $10,000 or $15,000 below that or more would probably be something that we want to do, as opposed to waiting for somebody to
Yes,
bid it out, and even if MFT funds will pay for it, you probably end up paying double.
And then
yes.
how soon would this get done potentially?
Whatever their schedule is, but if, like I said, I'm waiting for the third price, I've received 2 of them. And that is, then the 2 prices that I have received are coming in well below the engineer's estimate. Then it's whatever would fit in their schedule for the season,
When they're in our area.
but we would lock in.
But this was, so I would assume this would get done, obviously it'd get done
This
quicker
too.
than if we go through the NFT process, because we gotta wait for. the
It-
NFT
well,
process to get done. So.
It could, and once, yes, yes, and Chris and Sandy and Brenda, obviously it reminded me too, the MFT funds are not disappearing, we didn't lose it, it's not going away. I can guarantee you it will be used, if we can afford to do the projects that I have coming up in the next 2 seasons, depending on our budget. So.
You can use them on.
Yes, but once again, that's kind of the predicament we're in. So I just basically want to know if the board is okay with me continuing try to get that third price and put it on the agenda for the next voting meeting, because they are 30-day quotes, like most quotes we get are.
Yeah, well, whether you get it or not, you should probably put the lowest on for the next one anyway.
Yes, you'll have at least 2, guaranteed.
I'm fine with that.
So,
Yes, that's good.
okay,
Mark, I'll be in touch for another
Yep.
resolution.
Sounds good.
All right,
thank you, everyone.
off-road vehicles.
That's actually kind of my personal thing that we threw under here. I know that residents, folks have come in numerous occasions, talking about the side-by-sides, the 4-wheelers, the dirt bikes. As someone that grew up on a dirt bike, never owned a bicycle, I get it, but I also lived in the country. It is beyond ridiculous anymore. No, and I mean beyond ridiculous.
Golf carts too.
Golf carts are quiet. You can cruise by my house all day on a golf cart. I wouldn't even know it. But the four-wheelers, that are, they do go up and down the tracks, but I have a group that literally is backing forth in front of my house for hours on end. I see them in the subdivision. I seen a group of 3 or 4 of them by Brenda's house, the other day going to a call out. We have reached ridiculous,
Well, they don't like.
ridiculous.
Well, and Nathan and I don't live far from each other, they go past our house all the time, and they go onto the village property near my home, which is where we had the light incident last year from people, and so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 4-wheelers, it's dirt bikes,
Everything.
it's dune buggies, it's
Yes.
like, it's every
It's everything.
motorized vehicle possible. Yeah,
And I know our hands are tied. I get that. We've had the discussion. We don't have a police department. It's always been called the sheriff's department.
well, the county just.
And the county's not, they don't, I'm not saying they don't care. They don't have time.
No.
They won't enforce our ordinances and
Yeah.
they're actually to the point where they're allowing.
They allow it.
It's
ATVs.
That's something that allows.
a
it.
violation of the IBC to ride a dirt motorcycle or a four-wheeler drive, not four-wheeler, sorry, a four-wheeler on the road. So it's not like they have to use our ordinances to enforce it. They can use the Illinois Vehicle Code. They just don't choose to. It's not worth their time.
Well, until someone gets hurt.
Yes, and that's when.
Until someone backs
and
up,
if somebody
because
gets,
it's out dark,
as
and
soon
these
as
kids are
somebody
driving
gets hurt,
sometimes and.
well, it could be, they could be there riding down the road and they don't see a car. And they get-
Yeah, there's not much to do.
And I guess,
Get
once
on a
again,
pedal
I'll ask
bike,
the
too.
question that the residents have asked in the
Get on
past.
a
What,
Pedal
I
bike
mean,
too.
is there anything that we can do?
So I told Bertie, that in the past, if we know where they're coming from, we send them a letter letting them know these are the rules, it's not allowable. But that's beyond.
I see no resolution from that, unfortunately, except maybe a comment on
That's gonna
our
anger.
local pages, but.
Same struggle for the last however many years.
People there that I didn't know that.
It's
Oh, I see it. I agree.
It's
I
crazy.
see more of them that drive
I mean-
more careful than cars.
Where
do.
they're.
I don't.
I mean, but I don't want.
There's a
you know,
couple
as
of them,
following
there's more
kids
people
or
that drive
people around
recklessly in
either
cars.
too, and it doesn't really, there's enough policing and trafficking that it seems that our residents are doing lately that. I just, for safety reasons, it would scare me that,
Mhm.
following some of these kids or even adults around doesn't sound like
I
a
don't
good
think
idea.
anybody should follow anybody, but I also think that.
Yeah, you follow them and then they start taking off and have.
I agree with you, Nathan. I think somebody's gonna get hurt because we've got enough people that don't stop at stop signs as it is, and they're gonna go blasting through and hit a kid.
And they're not insured. I mean, these vehicles aren't insured. It's if they hit a pedestrian or they hit another parked car or something else. I mean, there's no recourse for this. I mean, they're not licensed, they're not insured, they're not even legal to be on the streets,
I do
so.
believe it parents homeowners insurance at that point,
No, they actually.
Believe
you
so.
think
like when they damaged our well over here.
You could, but I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got hit by a car. I don't know. I hit a
There's-
car. I don't know.
Gotta bring it down.
Sorry.
We had the well damage and the kids that were involved with it, they were going after their parents homeowners insurance.
Me, I hear them more as much as anybody.
Yeah, we got a lot of traffic by us and being close to the tracks, they cut through
Oh, I
the
know,
village
I know
path
they do
there
that
to
too,
go
that's
to
why
the
I
tracks,
for
so.
me, I'm seeing it because.
I've seen parents with kids on laps.
And I'm not looking for obviously an answer tonight. I'm just saying it's
Things.
crazy.
If there was a
It's
solution to
it's
stop
crazy.
it, I would be all for it, like, a safe solution to curb this or slow it down or.
Do you guys have any signs erected? And I get it, like maybe the people that are causing problems will laugh at your signs or whatever, but sometimes there's an education piece to it and. I know some communities I work with, this is a common problem, sometimes it's more e-bikes or whatever, but we hear this thing kind of a lot and usually. I mean, again, if you don't have anyone to enforce it, it's gonna be difficult no matter what you do. But sometimes signage just makes people, aware, it may
They
opt for.
sign that, at Harvest Glen and then one down in Autumn.
Well, I think that's also what the letter was doing, which is why it's sometimes effective, is that I do think that some of these people move to our neighborhood and don't know any better.
Well, they think that we're in the country, although this is a subdivision, you're not,
Maybe
country
you could
is
put that on the water.
another road over, like it's.
Just saying. That when then it goes to everybody and we don't
Yes.
even have to
Well,
track.
not everybody.
So forgive me for not looking at this in the map, is there, so I understand the enforcement issue and the notification issue. is there a regulation gap? Do you need anything on the book, or is it already covered that whatever the issues you're seeing are already either by local ordinance
Sure,
or Richmond state law, they're already illegal, so you don't, it's not that piece, okay.
we did that.
Enforcement would be the biggest issue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we have things in place.
Your child went
The
next door
county
and
has
took a baseball
freed up
bat to your
and how much do
funds
you
in the
really
county
want?
for it, though,
You're liable for
unfortunately,
that.
or lack of enforcement too, so it ties our hand because we don't have our own police department, we don't have a way of.
Yeah.
Of enforcing it on the daily, so.
It'll be enforcement, somebody gets hurt. Not by us.
Well, not necessarily.
Hope it doesn't either.
You're getting more people, more traffic.
Well, and the traffic's increasing tremendously. Like, yeah, leave it in the winter time, I mean, they just bundle up more. So,
It's worse than summer and
yeah.
sooner or later, something.
One to.
All right.
We can always We always do some research and look out, see what other people are doing. We'll just argue.
Talk about this, stay there.
All right, anything further, John?
No.
Patrick? You got all kinds of stuff.
I do. You pull it up here.
Again.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 25-19, a resolution waiving competitive bidding and accepting waste water management of Northern Illinois proposal for 2025 removal, transport and land application of liquid sludge from wastewater treatment facility in the amount of $7,500 per one to 100,000 gallons and 75 cents a gallon over 100,000 gallons.
Second?
This one, because it's dependent on ultimately unknowables, how much quantity is generated, how much is hauled off. This is a little bit unlike by most of the contracts you enter into where it's a not to exceed X dollars for over the course of a year or whatever. This is a per unit price that may or may not be over $25,000. So I will note the waiver of competitive bidding was just for the sake of being cautious and conservative. It's arguably not necessary in this context because we don't know that we're going over 25,000, but you could. I know in the materials I reviewed, I think there are 3 competitive quotations were solicited. This one was by a fairly significant margin, the lowest. So my advice is, to the extent that this is authorized tonight, when we send the paperwork back, we include a note. I provided some verbiage to Sandy for this, just stipulating that our acceptance is conditioned upon them conforming to all applicable laws. And what we specifically have in mind is prevailing wage. They were just way lower than anybody else. And there's been some legal clarifications and a statutory amendment in the last couple of years. This is definitely a prevailing wage job. They're in the business. I'm quite confident they know this, but I think accepting and providing that language to them will cover you in the event that they don't pay. Will be on record having required it, and then it's not your problem at that point.
That language is on the one that I'm asking Rick to sign.
Perfect.
So ultimately, Mark, then let's say they just agree that they are paying competitive wages and they don't. In the instance they get caught by whatever police run around to do that, what's the repercussions to
The
them?
Department of Labor investigates, make sure that you're on record requiring.
No, we're clear. What happens to them though? Nothing really?
Fines.
Yeah.
Letter.
No, I'm just saying,
Go back and pay the prevailing wage.
is it
then they
worth-
can Find on top of
It's
it.
worth the risk though, to them to take that risk?
Probably not.
I think that's
I
a
just wonder
business decision that they would have to make, not us. And I do appreciate the legislator moving the prevailing wage off of our plate onto the business owner's plate.
Yeah, I like it
So
better
we
that
no
way,
longer have to
yes,
monitor
because before it
that.
seemed like we would be, if we had any suspicions of that onus or it was happening.
You can always call Idle and file a complaint.
Yeah, and I do
No,
have
they'll
access
investigate.
to ensure that they are filing their documents if I choose to.
I mean, it'd be better if we didn't have to pay prevailing wage. Projects would be a lot cheaper.
There's a website, you can go look it up yourself.
All right, any further discussion on this? Wait, do we even give him? Who seconded it? Okay. I never got to the point of reading it off. All right, John makes a motion to approve resolution number. Oh, Patrick, I'm sorry. Patrick makes a motion to approve resolution number 25-19 in the amount of $7,500 for the 1 to 100,000 gallons, 75 cents
And 0.075 for each of them.
for every thousand after that.
7.5 per gallon there.
Oh, I read it wrong, yes, sorry. So it is 7.5 cents.
Per gallon after,
Yes.
or for every gallon over 100,000
Yes.
with that correction. Nathan second.
Yes.
Roll call.
Jen,
Yes.
Bill's absent, John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
No chili cook-off at this Esquicentennial, and you might save some money on the sludge
Also
hauling.
True.
Good morning, John.
Yeah,
Good
you know,
luck.
Still you, Patrick.
All right, I make a motion to approve resolution number 25-15, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of proposal from Helm Electric for installation of door fob system on MMC sludge digester and disinfector buildings at wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $22,160.
Patrick makes a motion to approve resolution number 25-15 in the amount of $22,160. Nathan seconds. Discussion on the fob system.
As you guys seen, it is not the lowest bid. There was another bid that was $915 cheaper, but they have a different system than what we currently use. Our key fobs could be programmed to that. But it'd be my recommendation that we just stick with the same system, so it's all the same.
By all means.
One, it noted that while I think that Helm is a very reputable business, I disagree with approving this one. As Procom has the passwords and logins and everything to our system, and we are now giving it to another company. Part of the reason that we went out for bid on our original fob system in the manner that we did, so that we could stick with one company, so that our safety of our fob system was left intact, and we're not sharing it with multiple companies. Additionally, with that, I think it's inappropriate to approve their bid, because if you go onto our website and search Procom, you can actually find the meeting in which the dollar amount of the Procom quote was given out in public prior to acquiring additional quotes. And so it does give both Helm and the other one an advantage over the fact that we did publicly discuss a dollar amount out loud in a meeting. Those are my concerns.
It's a quote, not a bid.
We try to follow the same.
And how many people watch our
We
meetings?
know that they're
30?
across the board, because now those two had access to information that Procom
You
did
think
not.
Procom is gonna come down from 28 to 139?
I don't know. I haven't talked to them.
Alright.
I removed this from my plate.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Roll call. Money.
Bill's absent, John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Jen.
Yeah.
This is at 6:39. Filter.
Brett?
I believe I could have been at our last meeting. I'm not, when Matt was here, we were talking about the filter. It kind of seemed like, you know, we were thinking about moving forward with that project, this season. I just refer to them as seasons. I had a few questions, so I spoke with Matt Hansen, last week, regarding this project. I was concerned about the timeline, what was left for engineering, those kind of things, basically because we don't have anything, a spec, we don't have anything to go out to bid. So I ended up talking with Matt for a while on that. He was basically in agreement. He said that we may want to look at getting everything done this season. We're going to incorporate the temp filter into this project instead of us doing it. Because there are some things, not to get into the weeds here, there are some things that we need to change for the temp filter that worked great for 2 to 3 weeks, but is not going to work for potentially 2 to 3 months or whatever this may take. So Matt was basically saying the same thing I am. We should probably look at getting everything ready to roll, sending this out to bid come December, January, whatever, because we are now in April. It's going to take a while. We need to beat cold weather for one. So by the time this is all done, we go out to bid, everything is figured out. Who knows when that's going to be, and who knows how long the project's going to take. It could take 6 weeks, it could take 3 months. I don't know. Matt doesn't know. So we have got a lot of work to do before we even think about tearing that filter apart. Not to mention, I need to install a new valve and repair or replace another valve up at well 1 in order to use or have the option to use both wells for this. Right now, we have issues with a valve and a missing valve that will allow us to use both wells. I'm not comfortable going into a 2 or 3 month project like we did the tower on one well. That does not give me the warm fuzzies. So that gives us this season to complete that project as well, and then ready to roll for the next year. For the filter project.
You mean the engineering?
The engineering, everything, yes, yes.
So this would be an FY 27 project? And Matt said
Yes.
That our current filter would be.
Yes.
Okay.
I asked Matt that too. I mean, that obviously is the big question here. Are we thinking any type of catastrophic, there's no way to know, but he says from what he's seen and, the inspection that they made, as of right now, it shouldn't come tumbling down. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but he's confident that so far we're good to go for a while. So, but we think we should maybe slow things down just a tad bit and get everything ready to roll. If the board is okay with that.
Yes.
I'm good with that.
Okay, yeah, all right. Appreciate it.
It scares me, but I mean, I think it's the right choice, so.
Yeah.
Quit scaring people.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I'm not gonna disagree. I don't like it, but
So,
we
it is
are,
what it is, I mean, we
we're-
need to do it right and not rush through this or reach a hiccup and then we're freezing, our, this.
yes.
Out there in the middle of October when it drops or, or something else.
Well, the temp filter can't be in it, so.
Right, so, yeah, it
Yeah.
can't be in the cold, so.
Yeah, so once again, I don't like it either. I would like to get this project done and over with, but. And once again, a week from now, this could be a completely different discussion and things
even
won't.
before
sound-
Then we're doing it.
I don't know.
Even before we ever started this, it was a leak, not a catastrophic failure.
Yes, and out of the 3, just real quick, out of the 3 leaks that we had before the inspection, 2 of those have pretty much slowed down since we broke into it. Now we just have one bigger one to the one end, so it's better, but it's not. I don't know.
Not fixed, but.
Yeah, it's not fixed, but. So,
Well, plugged it, so.
yeah, I think kind of did, yes.
Is the thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so. That's all I had on that. Thanks, Pat.
I have nothing else.
All right, move on to unfinished business.
LR, you should see something soon, attorneys. On that.
Mark.
We're sending you of the contract.
Yeah, we did, right.
You will-
Did you read it?
I don't know. So I believe what Ethan and Chris are looking for is authorization from you to just contact the attorneys directly and CC you on the email so that you're aware of communication. Well, don't CC you, CC me.
Yes.
Your violation of your own name.
Yes.
So that they can directly email Mark this information.
Absolutely.
And I don't need to fill in. Love it, there you go. Do you have Mark's contact information or do you need that?
I have from a previous conversations that we had before this was changed, so yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
perfect.
pretty sure I do, so I will be sending something up to get
And then
that.
just make sure you-
No problem, yep, you and Chris can get CC'd on it, and then we can stay in the normal loop that we have been on this, so. But you should have something soon, and then, for that, we.
Chairperson?
We have, they are looking to get this resolved very quickly, obviously, we've taken the time, so we want you to do your due diligence, not run through this too, so. But we will be sending it.
One other thing before we
Oh, so does
take
that.
off, the graffiti on the fence for that part of Verizon. We got the email today.
I
on the
read it.
choices, and the choices You wanna quickly just tell me?
Yeah, I read the same thing you did. It wasn't my research, but the options are so to sort of probably most nuclear to least nuclear, you could renew your push for eviction, use the graffiti incident as lack of rectification to go aggressive on evicting them altogether. This would end up being out of your pocket and somewhat unlikely to be compensated unless Verizon just did it. But you can exercise existing statutory ordinance rights to send out some notice, and then if and when they ignore you, you guys go in and scrub it. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of cost to scrubbing it, but you'd be covered legally. They wouldn't come back and say, "Hey, we wanted that graffiti," nothing to do with it anyway. And then thirdly, I think was basically go through an existing portal that they've set up nationwide when landlords have concerns. I would say option 2
Yes,
seems like an obvious choice to me.
which is just giving them notice and then if they.
And then wait 2 weeks or whatever, they don't do it. You
I
go,
mean, it's gone so well so far.
No, anybody opposed to giving them notice and then in 10 days, if they don't do anything, then we can take care of it ourselves.
That's fine, yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yep.
Sounds like the cheap,
I'll relay it, we'll take care of it.
reasonable option.
Public? Just keep putting me on the spot.
Put you on the spot.
Anybody else have anything before we go adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, second.
John makes a motion to adjourn, Patrick second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Adjourned at 6:47.
No.
The box kept it normal.